Yo, what's up, everyone? Edgar with That One Solar Shine. As always, let's bring on the one and only. What's up, Bernardo? Appreciate you joining in real quick and just watching this live stream. As always, we're here again every week, and we'll be talking about something. So let's quickly wait. All right. Yo, what's up, everyone? Appreciate all of you guys joining in real quick. Say what's up. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Hopefully you guys can hear me. What's going on with the OG? Come on, man. We're on week number 5 or week 4? No, week 5. We should be hashing out these kinks already, brother. What's up, everybody? So appreciate all of you guys joining in. Today we're going to be talking about something that I think is super important. Something that is real. Something that hits all of us, not just myself, not just Todd, but it'll hit you as well if you don't plan for it, okay? If you don't forecast, if you don't prepare yourself. And it's going to be a very good topic. Just waiting for, come on, let's see here. Waiting for Todd to join in. Y'all know that Todd comes in this. Let's see. For those of you that are still on, just drop a quick comment. Let me know you guys can hear me. Let me know you guys it's all working on your end. I don't know why I can't see Todd. So that's all we're waiting for. Once Todd jumps in this call, we will begin. But how's everyone doing? Happy Friday to all of you. Not just Friday, not just fall, not just October, but it's the fourth quarter of the year, okay? And that's huge. It's crazy to think that already we're in the fourth quarter of 2025, so it's just last minute grinding for everyone. So for those of you who are watching, for those of you who know what I'm about, just keep the hustle going, keep the hard work going, and look at the overall picture of how you guys did first, second, and third quarter, and now paint that picture of what needs to get done in the fourth quarter, okay? Make sure you guys know that because it's extremely important that you guys set those goals and you guys are out there grinding, boots on the ground. I know the fourth quarter is always going to be the toughest just because the weather, especially if you're going to be in areas with snow or just heavy winds or heavy rains as well. Fourth quarter can definitely be the hardest quarter of the year, but there's ways we can prepare for that. There's ways we can reframe, maybe the business, maybe the services, maybe our mentality, right? So that way we are able to still knock the fourth quarter out of the park. But I'm over here waiting for you know who. Come on, man. Where you at, brother? Let me in. What are you talking about, bro? I've invited you like 4 times, Todd, if you're listening. Let me invite in. There we go. Yo.
Damn, man.
Bro, I've invited you like 4 times.
I've requested like 4 times.
You got me talking to myself, man. We had like 10 people on. They all left already, bro.
They all were out, man. The cricket connection's not so good ever since, Geo Trump got in the office. He started killing all of these cricket accounts, man.
Man. All right,
Hey,
so I was giving a quick little rundown to everyone that's watching. How it's crazy. It's crazy to believe we're in the fourth quarter. Can you believe it?
it's crazy. Unbelievable.
It truly is. Those memes where, the people right at the end kind of lay off the gas and they end up losing the race, right? So,
Yeah.
um, Same with us in business. So, as I was mentioning at the beginning, real quick though, fourth quarter is really about kind of like restructuring, reframing, preparing. And Todd hit it on the nail on the head a little earlier this morning when we talked on the phone about forecasting. Okay. Um, the title of this video, what was the title again, Todd? I want you to say the title.
It was something about something about not jumping. Don't jump.
Exactly. All right. How not to jump. All
How
right. How
not to
not.
jump.
What are we referring to that? Okay. So, I quickly just thought of this title one because I want all of you guys to kind of see this in a reality point of view, and that point of view is fourth quarter. Okay. Fourth quarter can be tough for a lot of people. It can be, and I'm not going to say it can also be a walk in the park. I don't think business is ever a walk in the park. Business really is something that challenges you. It's something that really makes you think outside the box. It really defines you. It really, it's something that should also motivate you and get you moving and ramping up. So, but fourth quarter, especially for people in our industry, whether that's, windows, turf, cleaning, solar cleaning, all that stuff, things that have to do with outside, the fourth quarter can be very tough just because of the weather, right? And that's what this video is going to be about. Season changes, weather changes, how not to jump out the window just because you kind of see the schedule going down and you're in stress mode, you're freaking out mode, or you're in just what do I do mode, okay? But if you guys can prepare for this, and we're still early on, I'm not gonna say we're still early on. Early on is about, what would you say, like August, September, when you want to prepare for these slow
Yeah.
months, right? So, but right now, if you guys can at least do a quick pivot, you guys can really still come out on top of fourth quarter and make it rain. So quickly, Todd, though, Todd's already established, meaning he's already established in two industries. I'm not. Okay, I'm still working on the one industry that I'm in. Todd is already established in two industries, so I want to throw this quick question at Todd. Was it the weather, or was it something else that made you say, "Hey, I want to jump in a turf game"?
Well, I got turf and my turf started to smell, and I thought to myself, let me try to clean this turf. And my neighbor saw me cleaning the turf, so I said I could clean your turf. And no, that's a lie. That's every single solar panel cleaner. Oh, well, I started cleaning solar because I started cleaning my own and blah, 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 blah. You're all full of baloney on that. Get a new, what do we call it? Your
You got a
why.
new
Get a new
story?
why, right? But anyway, off the tangent. So, but realistically, had nothing to do. It was just by chance. I did get turf in my backyard. I have four dogs. I had four dogs. Um, Again, talking, this year's been a rough year. Lost three of the dogs, and I'm a dog person. I'm back up to two dogs, so I'm doing better. But no, I did get turf. It smelled horrible. I looked into it. There was like one guy down in like Orange County. Nobody. And I know we talk about this, like when I started solar cleaning, there were folks in other countries, right? Spain and different areas that were out there, but their Instagram presence was really small. There really was only just a handful of people in the solar game a million years ago. But on the turf side, there was really nobody other than this guy. So it didn't really have anything to do with the seasonality. But I'll tell you what, ironically enough, it might have, because I think I was sitting on the couch looking it up, and when you're sitting on the couch and it's winter, when you should be on the roofs, I think I actually started, I'll have to go back and check, but I think I started cleaning turf in the winter. So I guess you are right. Like unconsciously or subconsciously, during my downtime, I was thinking through different ways to survive and make money, and the turf thing came up. But think about it. in winter, just what you said, you have to forecast, you have to plan. It's a lot to digest and think. I'm barely thinking about this month's schedule with all the PTA meetings and all the different things that you got going on in your life. Knowing, and if you don't know, that's why Edgar started these things, was to provide people with tidbits of information. August, going back to school, always going to have a drop. After Halloween, you're always going to have a drop. How do you transition? Like Edgar says, that's part of what his expertise is, even though he's just got, appears to be just one company, but it's multifaceted, right? How do you transition into that? He does gutters, Christmas lights. He even takes down the Christmas lights. But I guess during that slower period, I had time to do the research to say, I'm going to start cleaning turf, which is crazy.
Right, right.
Who's here?
Yeah.
Oh, what up, Edgar?
What up, Devin? The Devinator. We're gonna for all of you watching, I want you guys to drop in the comments. Let me know if you guys want to see Devin in one of these videos one time, right? Because we're definitely gonna get his input as a young entrepreneur. Devin, how old are you?
23.
23 with the BMW and a house mortgage, right? Working, making it hard. So for all of you just watching, drop in the comments Devin, and we'll make sure we get him on one of these videos. That way he could chime in on a 23-year-old and how he's doing it, how he's making it happen. And not just as a egotistical standpoint, but as a motivational standpoint, right? Just how a lot of other 20-year-olds, 23, 25-year-olds can also do, big things. It's not just about Todd, with his 60-year-old beard and I'm only 35, but so it's important that I want to get all points of views, all motivational aspects on this channel, and I just want to make sure I build a community of just like-minded individuals that want to grow, want to learn, and want to become, better and have a better future for themselves. But going back to what Todd was saying and what I asked him about the whole seasonality thing, for those of you who are watching, like Todd said, maybe subconsciously, he didn't do it on purpose, but turf picked up in the winter, right? Why? Because he also had time for it. Time meaning his solar cleanings were down. So it's important for all of you that are watching, if you guys are in the window cleaning industry, in the solar cleaning industry, if you're not established already, 3, 4, 5, 6 years under the belt, maybe even 2 years under the belt, winter can take a hit on you. Okay, you guys can definitely see a drop of leads come in. You can see a drop of sales, and it's all because of just education. The whole reason why I started this YouTube thing is because I wanted to educate. I wanted people, specifically homeowners, to realize, to learn, to understand that we cannot rely on the rain to clean the solar panels. But until we get there, right, which we're getting there. I have a lot of repeat business still, and as each year goes by, I get more and more repeat business. So it's showing that the people are understanding that they can't rely on the rain, they can't rely on just waiting and saying we'll wait till it all passes. Like, no, you've got to get your stuff cleaned. So especially as a community, for all of us that are watching, if we can all always come together and continue to push that education out there, don't rely on the rain, don't rely on the rain, don't rely on the rain. It'll soon enough, right? Soon enough, they'll get it. The homeowners will get it, and they'll be calling us year-round to clean those solar panels. But that's something that takes time. And so, as a quick entrepreneur, not a quick entrepreneur, as a young entrepreneur who maybe just started this year, or man, I have people calling me Todd who are saying I'm looking at getting into this, or I want to get into this. Quickly, what would you say, Todd? Would you say to that entrepreneur who wants to get into this right now to get into it, or would you say, hey, wait a minute, this is not a good month or good quarter to get into solar cleaning, window cleaning?
I would ask them, what area are you looking to get into? What Northern California? Absolutely. Go ahead, jump into it right now. Who cares? You're in my neighborhood? Hang up the phone call. No,
don't ever get into it.
Yeah, don't ever get into it. You sent me a video the other day. I was trying to remember the premise of it, but remember that one where you're talking about, like, basically if your numbers are low, like your mindset's low or whatever the case is? What was that video? Like,
I send you videos like on a daily. I don't remember that one
I
specifically.
know. But that's all like trying to convert it into LDS. Those, I just, you send me like 10 of those videos a week. No, but it was a mindset video. Like basically you already lost the game. Like you hit it last week. The people that got 1 foot in, it's, I don't want to get all like religious because I'm not a religious person, but you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You
Right.
can't. You can, but I'll tell you what.
It's just gonna be
It,
hard, man. You're gonna
yeah,
be rowing against the current.
it, it it's hard because I don't know. I think more people give up when they have a job. They see the entrepreneurial thing. They see the good times. Like we talked about. There's the Instagram Todd, and everything's great, and look at me on my trips and all of that. Nobody's talking about the 5 hour car ride where I was belly aching and bitching about the finances or whatever the case is. So, like, there's never. It just depends how much energy you're going to put into it when you go into it. It doesn't matter for me what time. I left Solar City in December. And they told me, oh, you little solar panel cleaning thing, we know what you're doing, man. You're double dipping and all of that stuff. Like, you're never going to pay your mortgage cleaning solar panels. I left in December. That doesn't mean that I was blowing up right away because it was in the thick of things way back in 2015, 16. It's almost went full circle. People are buying houses, have no idea about the solar other than they have to have it. They
Right.
don't know about the education, like you're saying, the maintenance and all of that. So it just depends on what your mindset is. There's some youngsters that do what we do on the solar stuff that have gotten into the turf, and they're really good. They do good work. They do good volume. They've got good sales. They've been in it for a minute. But when I talk to them about their turf business, they're going into the turf cleaning. They're the only ones in that area. They're very, they'll probably see this and be like, no, we're not. They're very timid.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't sugarcoat shit here or there. I told them, I said, hey, when's a good time to buy the extractor? I said, this guy's going to hate me. I was like, you had enough money to buy that big ass skid for like $10,000 and you can't buy a $2,000 carpet extractor for your turf? You don't need to ask me that, right? So
Right.
if you're getting into it with, oh, you know what, or the opposite, I'm gonna wait. What are you gonna wait for? There's so much. Like, I know it's in your head and it's gonna come out because you do gutter, you do the Christmas lights, you do the beginning of the year, the windows, the spring cleaning, and all of that. That if you wait, you're gonna miss the boat. Like, if you think all of a sudden all these customers are going to be educated and everybody's going to answer the door in summer, and that's when you're going to get in and make your $1 million, you're going to miss that year. You're going to get to the end of the year and be like, damn, dude, I wish I would have jumped in sooner. So I know I'm always long-winded, but if you're thinking about it and you've got your stuff set up ready to go, you need to. You can't be the timid one. You got to go get your rejection. Get the rejection and your counters and all of that out of the way, man, because you're going to bang on one door. They're going to totally humiliate you and tell you you're a moron. Rain cleans panels. Can't you read? Do not solicit, you idiot. That happened to me and Devin. And Devin said, Dad, I don't know how you didn't punch that guy in the face. And I said, a couple of years ago, I probably would have, right?
Yeah.
Get that out of the way now. If you're going to get into it, you better jump in because there's plenty of months like this where you're thinking about jumping out.
No, I really like what you said, man, and it really comes down to that. It comes down to just straight up preparation, and there's not just a physical preparation to this, but also a mental preparation to this. And it's super important that everyone watching now and on the replay realizes that there's so much that goes into this, and that is involved in building something. And just like Todd said, if you guys want to, okay, if you guys say, well, you know what, maybe now's not a good time, January will be better. But when you start preparing in January, your spring's already like around the corner like that. Things just
Yeah.
move so fast to where you have to
Yeah.
be prepared, right, for
Yeah.
January. You have to be prepared for February, for March, and that preparation is now. Getting all your ducks in a row, right? Your flyers, your door hangers, your tools, your equipment. Go and do a couple. I'm not gonna call them freebies, but go and do a couple lower priced ones maybe just to get the experience off of friends and family. That's someone said, and I it was one of these high ticket ballers, and as a on Instagram they talked about what's the best way to grow something, not the best way, but what's the fastest or easiest way to grow something, and he said hit up all your friends and family. Do all
Yeah.
your friends and family know you do what you do, right? If they don't, then that's your first place. Hit up all your friends and family. And all you're doing is just getting out there, gaining that experience, especially when it comes to solar cleaning. You want to learn with different roofs, different roof pitches, different roof materials,
Yep.
solar panels. There's different manufacturers of solar panels, so you also want to learn those things, right? How to clean these, how to clean those, and you won't get that if you don't go out and do it. And you don't want to be learning that in February, March, April, when people are going to be calling you and you're making mistakes when the phone is ringing a lot. So
Yeah.
doing it now is a huge, huge opportunity for that knowledge to come in, soak it all in, learn from it, and just like Todd said, I started door knocking, right? But luckily for me, and I'm grateful for this, I went and served, like I said in another video, an LDS mission. So I was door knocking for 2 years in a foreign country. So I'm used to door knocking. I did it. Now it doesn't bother me. I enjoy it actually. I enjoy that communication and that connection with the homeowners when you make that connection. And the ones that I don't make the connection on, I don't care,
Yeah.
right? I just brush it off. But for those of you who haven't door knocked before, or you have but you don't like it or you're not comfortable with it, this is the hardest time to door knock. But if you can overcome it now, and when you have to door knock again in March, May, June, whatever, it's just gonna be like cake for you. Okay, so the preparation
Yeah.
is extremely important.
So real quick, Edgar, like what's going to happen next October? So if you start in June, you're going to roll into an October,
Yep.
right? And you're not going to have anything. And trust me, I love like all you Sun Bros. They're out of Arizona. They kick ass. Rick started it. His brother came along beside him. They are absolutely they're Arizona's like they're top notch in Arizona. I love seeing the first 3 years mathematically, like you're saying, the forecasting and the math on where you're at. I track all our deposits. I track our jobs and stuff. I got to get a new CRM because it's stupid. But anyway, October
Pen
is
and
going to
paper ain't
come
working
next
for
year.
you anymore.
I know, dude. It's so old. Like, yeah, writing it down on paper cards don't work no more. Can't forecast that. But you got to know where you're at, and it's humbling because guess what happens in the first 3 years? If you could make it, this garage door dude told me, and guess what? This dude's a highly successful dude, but he's feeling the pinch this year for one reason or the other. And this guy's been in it a long time, custom bike builder. I mean, young guy, like, but the world seems like it's falling in on that industry and a lot of servicing industries. But my point being, the first 3 years, like with Rick and those guys, it's very motivational when you're looking at it. You looked at last October. Your first October is gonna suck, man. You might kill it. Me and Edgar, like he's like, dude, I'm gonna jump out the window. It's rain yesterday. It's wet today, and he's not the little drop, like excuse the language, biatch. He's he'll be like, dude, it's barely windy over there, and I'm like, we're off the roofs, right? So Edgar's like, unless there's an extreme condition, he's on the roof or he's pounding the pavements. But different areas have different successes. Facebook ads, Google, all of that stuff. It's all different where you're at. So, if I'm saying my October sucks, but I live in the hood, right? And my scope is only in my hood and I don't travel out beyond that, you can't really use, well, Todd's doing good or he's not doing good. Last winter, Rick with Sunbros and his brother, they didn't stop. They went all the way. They were ordering so much damn material. I was kind of jealous, man. Like, I was telling Devin, let's get the trailer, dude. Let's roll out. Like, we had conversations about, man, maybe we should go to sunnier states during different times of the year and
Right.
all of that stuff. But the first 3 years, you get to look back, and those are the most excitable because you're like, wow, I got a guy down, Carlos, Mad Solar. I'm not going to say the amount, but he was pumped the other day when I talked to him. He's like, bro, I finally broke X, right? So he was looking to break a certain dollar a month, total gross, and he killed it, right? So your first 3 years, you're gonna be like 90%, 100% growth if you're doing it right. You should be doubling your money all the way through. But if you wait to June and you get to October, you're going to deal with it at some point, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So might as well deal with it now.
Yeah, no, and that's extremely right. Yeah, if you're not going to deal with this October, this November, you're going to deal with next October, next November, and how do you prepare for it? It starts with now. It starts with getting out there and just doing it, right? Just taking that action and pounding pavement. But quickly, for everyone who's just wondering, well, like you kind of touched base on it a little bit, talking with Devin, maybe we should leave and go hit up Arizona or south of Utah or whatever, during the winter months. So for those of you wondering, and like Todd has explained a little bit at the beginning, All-in Solar Shine isn't just a solar panel cleaning service, right? We also do gutter cleaning. But why do we do gutter cleaning? Because obviously where we live in our geographical area, I would say 100%, maybe 99% of the houses have gutters, right? I've always talked to Todd about this, and Todd mentioned like your houses don't have gutters, right, where you live?
Not in the desert, no.
And I think in Arizona as well, talking to Rick a couple times too, mentioning Rick from Sunbros, he's also reached out to me a couple times, and I realized that he doesn't have gutters either. So sometimes, depending on where you live, things work for you and things don't. So if you live in an area that you can't offer gutter cleaning, of course, don't offer it. But so going back to like All-in Solar Shine, we do gutter cleaning in the winter, right, to help offset the slow calls of solar cleaning. And then I really only got into Christmas lights only because one, I mentioned this in a couple of other videos, but like I grew up and my mom's always been a huge, like not huge where it spends thousands of dollars on decorations, but she liked to decorate, right? She likes to make sure her kids knew it was the holidays, and so I take that same mentality and I do it with my family, right? So when I had my girls, I do the same thing. They know it's the holidays, right? Look at lights go up, decorations come out, and I always had that detail of just making it look nice. And so, but I just kept telling myself, you know what, like it didn't seem like a professional, right? I didn't feel like a professional. But in talking with another solar panel cleaner, he started as a Christmas light installer. He has had his Christmas light installation company for like 15 plus years, and he just started doing solar cleaning 3 years ago. And so him and I are the opposite. I started doing solar cleaning, and now I'm doing Christmas lights. But in talking with him, he really helped break that ice with me and just break the barrier of like, dude, you know what? You can do Christmas lights. It's really not as crazy as it seems. It's not as hard as it seems, and you don't have to, be this or feel like you're this qualified, certified professional
Right.
to go and hang Christmas lights the right way, and obviously charge for it. So talking with him, he helped me out, but it really all came down to just homeowners wanting extra things, right? Homeowners wanting to call and say, hey, Edgar, you clean my solar panels, you clean my gutters. Any chance you also hang Christmas lights? Any
Yeah.
chance that you're already up there cleaning those gutters? Can you also just take these lights and put them up on hooks? And I've mentioned with Todd a little bit. I feel like back in the day, Todd, I mean, when you were in your 20s, would you say 20s and 30s, would you say back in the days people called different professionals, right? Like you called the plumber for a plumber, you called this for that, the carpenter for carpentry, you called individuals or professionals for their specialty. Would you say I'm wrong?
Yeah, absolutely. We used to, we would actually call the warden's office because I was locked up during those ages. But
Well, if you could remember your parents,
no,
right?
you did. I saw something today, like it's a junk removal company that I follow, and it's a guy and a girl, husband and wife, and they talk about how much money they made for the day, and they were like, we're in the most saturated um, service out there, junk removal. And guess what? I was thinking about getting into that too, but kind of I think where you're going now is when when you wow somebody with like I told Edgar, he just needs to change it to all one home services because I separate everything. Mr. Clean Turf, Solar Clean, Mr. Clean Windows, whatever, Mr. I don't know. I just have like I don't know, ADD or whatever. But kind of to his point is like when you satisfy somebody, I've had multiple customers like, what else do you do? Hey, I saw you with a pressure washer. Do you guys do pressure washing? Hey, that tank you guys were doing for the solar, right? After we walked them through that, can you guys do my windows, right? And there's an opportunity and there's an attachment and they feel good about the relationship that they may throw
Yeah,
you
they
that
trust us
money.
already.
Yeah. So it's an opportunity. Like I hate doing window cleaning, but guess what? In winter, you'll see more of me posting things about Thanksgiving or whatever, Christmas, things like that. Just really like quick hit money to keep some keep the lights on or whatever the case is. But that's not my cup of tea there. So
Right.
I don't know, but it's going to be multifaceted.
Yeah, no, and I think it really comes down, me personally, it really just comes down because of trust. You know what I mean? Like today, man, in 2025, I feel like you can't trust anyone. You can't even, I mean, look at what's going on in the world, right? You can't even, I mean, do you got to kiss your wife? I don't want to say goodbye, but give her a kiss. Hey, wife, I'm going to Starbucks, but
I
why?
might
Because you
not
don't
come
even know.
back.
Exactly. You don't even know what's going to happen when you're at Starbucks. I mean, that's unfortunately, and I really say with super deep condolences, unfortunately, that's just the world we live in now. And it also worries me because I mean, shoot, what are my kids going to grow up into, right? If this is what we're
Yeah,
living, like
yeah,
what's it going to be like in 20 more years?
yeah.
But coming back to the whole business standpoint, I mean, if you're going into someone's home, or providing a service, or if someone's saying yes, come over and provide the service, I mean, obviously they gotta trust you, right? That's why they said yes to paying you. That's why they said yes. Here, come over. I mean, how many of you guys? Oh, hey, hey Edgar, I want a quote for solar cleaning. Great. What's your address? Oh no, I don't want to give you my address. Just what's the quote? Well, I need your address, right? They don't even want to give you an
Right.
address over the phone because of that worry. I mean, sometimes I chuckle like, well, what am I gonna do with your address? I'm gonna go and egg your house? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just give me your
Yeah,
address and I'll give you the quote. But I get it. I really do get it. It's the worry as a homeowner, the worry as a parent, the worry as
yeah,
maybe they're a single mom or whatever, or a single dad. I mean, so we live in a day in today's society where trust is an issue, and so as a service provider for all of you that are watching, if you've earned that trust already
hmm,
and they've become that repeat business and they're calling you every time they want a solar cleaning job, hey, ask them, you know, we're getting into window cleaning. Would that interest you? I'm sure,
yeah,
without a doubt, they're going to say, yes, let's do it. And so that's something that a lot of us should think about too. And I also think there's a line, right? For example, what Todd said, he does window cleaning, turf cleaning, solar cleaning, right? Are you going to see Todd setting tile? Are you going to see Todd building cabinets? Probably not,
not
because
me.
that's where I think that line is drawn, right? Like
Right.
I I'm not telling all of you that are watching, yeah, go and be the jack of all trades and do everything, but I just feel like, and it also comes down to just, it also comes down to, I also think if you want to be professional, you got to be an expert in that, right? And
Yeah.
there's, and when you're dealing with like roof cleaning, solar panel cleaning, you're dealing with roof stuff. So that's why I tied into solar cleaning, gutter cleaning, and now roof cleaning as well, because we're dealing with the roofs. We know how to use the ladders. We know how to get on and off. We know how to walk on the roofs. We know how to fix anything, if there's a damaged roof tile, we can fix that, or replace it. If there's if there's a damaged gutter, we can also replace the gutter. So like things like that is why I also said, I want to get into these other little extra services because we already have the experience, the knowledge, and expertise of how to get into it, right? I don't want to go and train my guys to detail cars. I mean, sure, that's another cleaning service, but that's not within the parameters of what we already do and what we want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And if, our brains get like so spun and we start having these crazy like conversations, but I, some people might be like, how does that have anything to do with winter and changing seasons and all that? And if you're just jumping in or you're 15 minutes into the conversation, how big is your toolkit, right? What services do you provide? What hat are you wearing today? I've told Edgar time and time again because he has so many levels of expertise. I'm not. He's kind of changing my mind on how he runs his business, but I think the more the more your customers know what you offer, the more you know about the seasons. There's sometimes on rainy days like this, I take the day off and I go take a nap, to be honest with you. But that rainy day, I'm always looking at the weather. I'm always seeing what it's going to be like. I know when it's going to be blowing in the areas that we service, right? And we know, Edgar and I always talk, it's getting into that season. How's the schedule looking? He's like, I'm going to start running some things on Christmas lights. I'm like, dude, it's September. And he's like, yeah, you got to get on it. You got to be you got to be forward in your thinking, right? And so if you're starting off or you've been in the game for a year and you got some time under your belt, what are those? There's going to be rainy days. There's going to be, I know in my area, people assume, like when we get into these flash rains, like we're in the desert, it comes down, you look at the panels, and I'm driving around and I'm like, perception's reality to most of these people. And like Edgar is the biggest fan of educating the customer, the homeowner. But that's it. Solar cleaning's over for the people that don't know and that haven't had it serviced, that don't pay attention. You're gonna fight a losing fight with that. So if you know that, what can you do so when these days come? Is it a change of hat, of a skill set? Is it a time to drop reminders of other things that you do, right? Today I was like, it's kind of a rainy, gloomy. I mean, Devin was in one area and it was raining, and he was going to do infill on another area because Danny's on vacation. And then he's like, should I pick up the infill? And I'm like, pick it up. We could always do it a different day. He called me back and said, hey, it stopped raining. It's dry. So like he could go on with his day. So I guess the point being, like Edgar and I are always having conversations and thinking, what's coming up? What do we have to do? And we'll get into like schedules another time and all that. This week, this time of year for me, it's I'm gonna fill up this week's schedule. What's today? I don't even know. Today's Friday.
Yeah.
Thank God
we do our show. We do our series on Fridays.
I'm losing my mind lately, right? Because it's bananas. But next week we didn't have anything for solar. and it's been super slow. We've had cleaning here, cleaning. What's $250, man, when you got kids in college? I feel bad for you. You got 3 little girls, weddings and college. Oh my God. Subscribe now to Edgar's channel and start paying so he could afford to live. But with us, like I'm boom. We got, what do we got? 1, 2. I booked one. I even got on the roof today and booked it. Maribel booked one over. Actually booked, 2 over the phone, which we typically, like when that customer said yeah that quick, I was like, oh, I probably did it too cheap. But the point we're saying is you got to know your skill set. You got to know when the seasons are going to do what the seasons are. When you have changing weathers, I tell Devin all the time, right? Like, y'all got to keeping on, like that guy says, just keeping on, or keep whatever he says. But you got to stay with the banging, the hanging, the ads, whatever you're doing, because you can't just be like, oh man, it just rained for 3 days. Nobody's going to do. I've got people in December, January, like quite a few people that have been with us for years. Rain, sleet, or snow. They're like, if it rains on the day or it snows, do it the next day. They understand, but it took time to get there. So don't get it twisted. The reason we say, like, don't jump, right? It's because I always joke with Edgar, like, are you going to jump out of the single-story window, right? Because we're not brave enough to go jump off of a roof, right? The guy today told me, he goes, should you be on the roof at your age? I said, boy, I'll slap the... But anyway, I shouldn't be on the roof. I should be doing other things. But thank God, Edgar and I talked last week about resources and having the right people, and if they're out doing what they're doing, and he was worried about this week and keeping his people busy and all of that. And although it may not be as fruitful, he's thinking of that. Like, hey, August, back to school, September comes back up. Why isn't September ratcheting up like it did last year? Because he's over the 3-year mark. So now he's starting to normalize and he's established, but you're not going to get the woo-wee, I went up 100% over last year. You know, 1 over 0 is 100% increase, right? So you're like, woohoo, I did one job. But it's having that mentality on rainy days. Sometimes take a nap. Couple rainy days, our brains don't work like that. They keep going. And it's like, man, Edgar has adults that work for him. I've got family members that work for me. So Danny's like, hey, I'm going to go to Vegas. He's still young, right? But at the end of the day, I'm thinking, like how he asked me on the turf, my brain was like, wow, I did think about it when I was sitting on the couch, ignoring my whole family, probably depressed. I've told this many times, but I think it was last year or the year before. We always sit down for dinner. Thank God we could do that as a family. That's one of the perks. If you can get home for dinner, get home. And my wife cooks every night, which is awesome. Today we're going out for a big fat cheeseburger. I'll tell you why later. But I was like, hey, man, I was telling the family, I said, you know what? Everybody's looking at me. I said, you know, I really feel, I think I'm depressed.
This was 2 years ago, you said?
Yeah, it was like last it's winter. It's always winter. You'll never hear me say that in summer. Hallelujah. God is great in the summertime, man. But, you know, I'm like, whew, in winter. And they literally, they went back to eating. Like the mental, like the stuff we go through as we chose these roles. We're the provider. The wives are at home. Thank God Devin works for me. But, man, I'll tell you, it's a struggle when it's back-to-back. But if you know your tool belt, you know the seasons are coming, you'll start to pick up the highs and the lows, your reaction times to it. Me and Edgar were talking today, like, you know, X amount of money comes in by Friday. If I was to tell you how much is in my account today and talk, I don't know how it all disappears by Monday. It took 5 days to get it. It only takes 2 days to get rid of it. And I'm not spending, man. It's just obligations. But anyway, Like for me right now, because I've got Danny and Devin, I've got my wife taking calls. So yesterday, my head was back. I was tired, not motivated, not feeling it. But then, like 2 o'clock, I got like this thought came to me, and I ran out to the warehouse and I grabbed this pressure washer lid, and it fit the bottle. I'm working on this project for the turf cleaner stuff. Dude, I was bananas. After that, I expected everybody to be answering me and picking up phone calls, right? But in this time of year, I do slow down. I keep Devin doing what Devin does, and Diego and them doing that. Like with the turf, this year I got, not that I got rid of, but I didn't have time and it didn't make financial sense for doing small yards. So I set a minimum 550. So
Right.
if you have a little tiny pea patch, it's 550. A lot of people were like, that's outrageous, right? But I was already doing $550,000, $3,000 jobs of turf. So now that it's slow and I was running some ads, they were really hitting hard. And a lot of them were smaller pea patch people. We booked a whole bunch of normal jobs, but I said, damn, dude, I don't care. If Devin is slow, I'm going to reallocate that resource with Danny's going to keep doing the big jobs. That's our arrangement. And Devin's going to go out and do turf on the little jobs.
Right.
And it's going to keep money in his pocket, money in my pocket, and it's going to extend our base. So sometimes just looking at the services that you have, and like Edgar, like he's got an expectation of, I don't want to call it an upsell because it sounds like we're trying to grab everybody's money, but dude, everybody has gutters. You're on the roof when you're getting down from the ladder. You better take a look and you better talk about it. Because if I call and say, hey, Edgar, I'm just following up on your service. How did Devin do on your solar panel cleaning? And then I'm going to say, hey, by the way, I saw the pictures of your gutters. Man, you didn't want to get them cleaned out for $99, right? You can't
I
do
wouldn't clean them
that.
out for $99.
I don't know. I don't have damn gutters, dude. But
Yeah, no, but you're absolutely right, dude, with all that, and you know, and I just want to remind everyone too, because like we're talking on a global theater right here, on a global stage. So, you know, some of you that are watching probably don't have different seasons, right? You don't have that season change. Maybe like I could think of like maybe like in Arizona, you know, where you guys are just hot all year long, and you guys don't have the rain and the snow and whatnot, just beautiful sunny skies every day. But some of you do. I mean, if you're in Utah, right, you're
yeah,
not going to be cleaning solar panels when you're having a blizzard outside and or where there's, you know, a good half a foot of snow on the solar panels. So, and some of you are in Hawaii, where again, you're probably cleaning solar panels and flip-flops all year long. So, all this information that Todd and I are dropping, it's going out to the masses, right? And it's going out to everyone. Take what you can from these topics, these videos, and apply it to you where you live, your business, your service, and obviously what you can do, right? Because, like I said, we're talking to everyone here. We're giving, you know, it just so happens that for Todd and myself, you know, we live where we live. Todd doesn't have gutters, so he can't offer gutter cleaning. We have gutters, so we do offer gutter cleaning. But it's so funny though, because like Todd has constantly talked about, like, you know, man, he wants to try and get into Christmas lights, and he keeps telling me to get into turf cleaning. And so, you know, who knows? Maybe down the line we get a Mr. Clean, not a Mr. Clean. You get a Mr. Shiny Lights, and then we get an
something, man.
all one turf cleaning. You know, we're not sure just because we're still throwing those ideas out there, all because of we have numbers, right? And we need to hit those numbers, and we want to make sure that our employees stay busy. We want to make sure that our customers, the homeowners that we service, our clients, they continue to trust us. They continue to count on us. I think that's the biggest thing too. Like when you trust someone, you want to be able to count on them, right? You want to be dependable. And so, like, it's like I think the last thing that any business owner wants is to lose a trust, because I don't know, the homeowner feels they can't count on you, right?
Yeah.
But let me quickly ask this question, Todd, and I want to see, because honestly, Todd, in my opinion, guys, in my eyes, he's the OG for pigeon evictions. he's the man, the expert, the professional. I mean, all these other. I'm not going to get
Keep
into it,
them
but all these
coming,
other
dude. Keep them coming.
all these other achievements that people are. Oh, there's an achievement out there, Todd, for pigeon for bird proofer of the year, but we're
Oh,
not going to
yeah.
get in. We're not going to get into that. So, but
That's hilarious.
and it's getting awarded to someone. But I mean, I'm not bashing the person who's getting the award. I'm not bashing.
Yeah.
I'm just bashing on just like who's who's to say who's that person. But
Yeah.
anyways, I want to ask you this one question because of tactics or strategies, right?
Yeah.
Mark Solins and over at AM Pressure Washing, he talks about a little bit of this as well, seasonality, and his tactic or strategy that he likes to tell people, which I want your input on it, right? On the strategy itself. He talks about how we as solar cleaners should try and schedule the pigeon evictions during the winter months, right? So that way we're not having to deal with these hot roofs and getting on our knees, laying down and installing the bird guards, and yet scheduling the pigeon evictions during these winter months where it does slow down on the solar cleaning, so that way we stay full on our schedule, and we can go and get these guards up. What's your take on that strategy? What do you have you ever tried it? Do you think it works? Do you
No.
think it doesn't?
It don't work. And there's male, there's female, and there's never do that. I'll buy your equipment from you. Just call me when you try that. And philosophy, right? If it was just me and you doing it, we've got the leisure to do that. You
Right.
do not have, trust me, I hate, the part that I really hate is people do not respect, because you're self-employed and we put our cell phone numbers out there, right? If you do not pick up that phone and you're in an area like the Inland Empire, Rancho Cucamonga, whatever the case is, there's 38, 40 other companies that are going to do it. They're going to pick that stuff up. There's people that are hungry. There's good companies that they may be lower down on the Google search, but they're good companies, right?
That's
They're
why
just
they're
not,
hungry because they're
yeah,
lower down.
they're lower on the search, right? So you can't in an area where you're the only one, or you've got the reputation that Edgar is, and I think that's something. It's resonating with me right now. And I'll leave that alone. Is when you build that relationship, that trust, and that quality service, that sticks, right? And we've got a lot of old customers on a lot of old pricing on solar panel cleaning. I've only adjusted my pricing like twice, right? But you got to strike when the iron's hot. And the only reason I say that is there's a lot of people that are buying equipment. They're running out there, and we talked about this. They're experts very fast. And so they might just be doing it cheap to get the experience, to get some social medias and things like that. But you have to strike when it's hot, because my area is not really saturated. But I'll tell you one thing: there is one person that we'll say we're friends. We'll just leave it at that. But they're in my neighborhood way too much, where they used to respect territories and boundaries, because they weren't eating where they were casting their net. They weren't
Right.
really eating. Last year, their overall volume was dog shit. This year, they made the decision: I'm gonna go everywhere, and I'm gonna step over anybody's boundaries. I don't care, and I'm gonna underquote you. And it's happened time and time again. Although that bugs me, if you tell somebody that's tired of hearing pigeons, like the guy today, I sold him his solar system, I told you earlier, in 2015, 14. And then I'm back doing a call. He put all the chicken wire. I told him, I said, hey, you got chicken? You got chickens up on the roof? And he's like, no, I got pigeons. And I said, oh, what's the chicken wire for? And
Right.
he's kind of a funny guy. He's an older guy like me, so we're cracking each other up. It's probably the only time we got to laugh at each other, is talking about our dumbasses. But We don't have the luxury to do that. If you're in an area, you're in Utah, and you're the only guy on the roof, and there's a storm or a blizzard coming or whatever, and they gotta wait, you gotta wait. But if you wait, somebody's gonna knock on the door, and they're gonna take your job from you.
They're gonna snatch it right from underneath you. Yeah, no, I can honestly agree. You know, like I said, you know, no hate towards marketing whatsoever, but I just feel like
Oh,
that tactic, at least in my opinion and from what I see, you know, it's really hard to hold the homeowner accountable to that because, you know, all of us have to remember as well, especially when it comes to pigeon evictions, the homeowner is calling you in that moment because they have a problem, right? So to tell them, or in June, tell them, yeah, you know, here's the quote, but I'll get it done for you in November. Like,
yeah.
the homeowners are not going to want to wait. They want that problem resolved right away. I thought when I first heard it from Mark, I thought it was a great idea. I was like, man, you know what? That'd be dope. Pigeon evictions are already high ticket items. I'd get some great cash flow during the slow months. I mean, that'd be amazing, you know. And yeah, it's cool months. So who doesn't want to be on the
Yeah.
roof, you
Yeah.
know, 8 hours a day, laying on the tile, whatever, doing these guards. But I tried it. And you know, and immediately I found it didn't work, right? Just because the homeowners want the results that the day
Now.
they called you. You know, they
Yeah.
want it now. And some of them, I mean, I did. There was times when I didn't even try that tactic, and I would lose out on the job just because I wasn't able to
Yeah.
get to it in time because I was busy, right? And they
Yeah.
went with someone else who said, "Oh no, I found someone who can do it tomorrow." I'm thinking,
Yeah.
man, like, and it kills me because I'm like, damn, like I can't get to tomorrow, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm happy I couldn't get to tomorrow because I'm busy, right?
I really wish at some point, like, dude, that's funny you said there's a whole industry or there's a whole made industry of people, whether they have any experience on the roof or whatever the case is. I never got into this to create an industry to be that guy, to be the cool guy with the mustache and let's hold some seminars and let me award who's who. I could tell you right now, just by watching people's social media, who would be like the hustler of the year, the really the true pigeon eviction. But you know, I never, like we talked about, staying in my lane. It does chap my butt because as well known as I am, I'm not known, and I
Oh,
really
no one's
would
known, dude. No one's known.
no nobody. I really wish I had that. But those things, it's like, say for example, I have a customer, he owns Catch, that restaurant. Danny did his turf. The guy is so nice, beautiful Bel Air home, like it's banana money out there, dude. Like what the f? Such a nice guy. Um, Danny didn't know that he's the co-owner of Catch, that restaurant, right? And Danny posted the other night that he was there with some slap fighter guy. It's his friend. He's doing a fight in Vegas this weekend or whatever. That's slapping upside the head, right? But anyway, those things are so hot, people will wait forever for a dinner, right? And
Right.
then it's kind of a cool thing. But then guess what? I wish him the best because he's so successful, that guy and his partners. They know what they're doing. But
Yeah.
that burns out and it fades away, right? So for us little guys, if you've got the right network of people like Edgar, like I was sending him stuff today and I was like, why is he not responding? I know he ain't doing shit. He just told me he ain't doing anything. I'm sending him ideas. At least I'm not putting my ads on the side of milk bottles next to the missing kid like Edgar did in Vallarta. He said, who cares about the kid? You got pigeons, bitch.
Oh my gosh, I didn't
But
do that. All right, yeah, for everybody watching, I did not do that. No,
he was
but
putting them over the milk. But my point being, I really wish we were somebody like that, that people, you know, in our little world, we are. And back
yeah,
about 15 minutes ago, people, they trust like that relationship. They're not everybody. There's people, I've never even seen them. We've cleaned their solar every single year. I don't see them. I don't know what they look like, right? But there's those people that really, really trust you and us, and I wish it was to where you could schedule it at your convenience. But that's another thing. Like I tell people too, when we get busy and then we start running 2 vans, you already got 2 vans and your truck, so you're running 3 vehicles. Like
Right.
that's hard to keep scheduled. And when you start losing people, customers, because you can't fit them in, it's a hard pill to swallow. But some people, they'll wait a little bit, but you can't push them out to August, right? Like I tell
Yeah.
people, I said, look, there's 2 things I wouldn't react to immediately. A tattoo artist, if he says, yeah, come on in right now, I wouldn't go get a tattoo from that guy, right? Or not like I've had any plastic surgery. Look at these bags, dude. A plastic surgeon, if he says we could do the consultation and I could do your chest today, no way, Jose. You know what I mean?
I want to see you with the chest.
Nah, I used to have a chest. But there's certain things you would expect to wait, and you're going to go with
Yeah.
Dr. Bresnik, right? Like, I'm going to go with Dr. Bresnik because that's the guy, right? But
Yeah.
really, I wish we were that famous and that popular. Some people will wait a little ways, but today, nobody respects territories. Nobody respects each other, right? I tell Edgar, and this is an important part. If like I sell material, and I sold a lot of material, and I've sold a lot of material to people that have given a lot of information, a lot of tactics, a lot of food for thought, a lot of free shit because they were sheep's, and what do they call it? Wolf in sheep's clothing. But you got to take the good with the bad. You can't be belly aching about it. But I was selling material. I was giving them the ends of the trades. I tell Edgar I don't want anybody else getting in the turf cleaning game because it's like solar. Everybody's mowing and blowing, and it's starting to get into my area now. So the areas that I service a huge area. You usually do that when you start. You do 2 hours, and then you come back to a base. But I tell Edgar to do it, and I support him doing it because I know the numbers are there, and I know the attention to detail that he would provide, not kissing his ass, because I give a shit less about his gutter cleaning. But I'm not going to tell somebody to go do something and add like vinegar to it or put water on the campfire. I want some gasoline. I want somebody out there that raises that bar. Like when this is me on my soapbox, but nobody is better and more efficient than my son or myself or Diego in Southern California. When I look, this is not because Edgar's on his guys and his level of expertise and his expectation. They're there. His videos are showing. Are people talking shit?
No, yeah, they're not. The comments are coming. The comments are coming.
Okay, they're coming. But like, those are the people I back. That I tell, dude, get into this game because I know Ed. I already know. I got people from Sacramento. I don't cast a net to Sacramento when I run my ads, but by the grace of God, we're getting 6 million, 4 million, 3 million views on the turf cleaning, and people are desperate. And it's like the people that I do, Lumens Cleaning in Fresno, Visalia area. Good kids, young kids. I give them the whole, hey, anything you want to know. But at the end of the call, I'm like, y'all need to stop being little, you know what, and get your ass out there and represent and be the man that you are in the solar game, right? So when I tell Edgar, get into that, right,
Yeah.
I know he's going to knock it out of the park, right? When he tells me to get in Christmas lights, he just wants to see me fall off the damn ladder so he could take over number one.
Yeah. But quickly, before you keep going, we're gonna be hopping off pretty soon, and we have two good questions right now before we head off. Both of them by Chosen Property Services. So honestly, bro, I appreciate you. You've been watching for a while now, so really, hat off to you, man, for watching.
We're going 3 days straight. This is a marathon. Send in your money now.
So his first question was, how are we getting clients nowadays? So for me, it comes down to just because we're still doing solar cleaning, we're still doing pigeon evictions, right? But again, if that was the only thing I was focusing on, then it would just be, hey, go back to what's working, and you have to go to what's working in that time in that moment, right? right now, if you guys are into ads and you guys know how to do ads, whether it's Google or Facebook, you will see that the search volume drops, right, for solar cleaning, for pigeon evictions, right? So what does that mean? That means people aren't searching. People in their head do not have a problem, so they're not going to the computer and they're not searching for these services. So the only way for them to buy from you is they got to see you. How do they see you? Door knock, door hangers, flyers, postcards, maybe some signs, right? So out of sight, out of mind, right? So if they're not searching for your service, then they're not going to buy from you if they don't see you. So chosen property services, wherever you're at, like I said, I don't know if you're in an area that has,
Tell them to chosen, where are you at? What area are you
so
at?
comment where you're at, because depending on where you're at, if you're in Hawaii, people are probably searching for solar cleaning all year long. If you're in Arizona, same thing, right? But if you're in Utah, they're probably not going to be searching for it right now. So depending on where you're at, that's how you're going to, you got to find those ways, those strategies to get out there and to get people to see you. But for
just
me,
like
again,
you were saying earlier, it's October. People are putting away the barbecues. They're putting out the pumpkins.
Exactly.
Change
And
of
again,
mind.
so if I wasn't just a specific solar cleaning service company, like I'm not, I'm now offering gutters and Christmas lights, that's now what I'm focusing, right? I've toned down a little bit on the ads for solar cleaning, and I've upped the ads for gutters and Christmas lights. So it's all about also pivoting, right? Knowing when to pivot, how to pivot, why to pivot. And that right there would be a great, just tip for success for all of you guys who are going to be offering multiple services, of knowing how to do that. That way, as those spikes of searches go up for these other services, you want to catch that wave immediately, so that way you guys get that. And then, so form ads or call ads, that's going to be for you, Todd. I want you to answer that one. For your turf, you said you guys are getting, lots of ads for turf. Are they coming in as calls or forms?
That's the crazy thing. So I always put the call to action. I would say, like 90%, right? 80% of our customers for the turf is coming through our Instagram channel, the reels that we're posting, and the ads. Even a simple boost of those. I boosted 2 of lately, and I kid you, I think there was on one of them, within 3-4 days, I had and these are engaged, inquisitive, want to know what's up. They got stinky turf. They've tried stuff. Where are you located? Where are you at? So we had over 100 engagements. I could literally screenshot and post all of these foreign people. They're real. They're not bots, right? And so let me
just quickly ask you though. Remember what you're going to say, but just quickly. Have you seen those videos of people saying not to boost posts on Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So keep going.
So all those, I just boost something. I tell my nephew, I say, hey, put me together a video. I want some brooming. I want some blowing. But most importantly, because I could use those videos later, I need a lot of the spraying of our cleaner, because we sell our own cleaner. And so today, you'll see on my story, I put 4 back to back to back, damn, dude, this guy wants us to buy his material. But we boosted, and we were over 100 engagements on one, so I boosted. And that's finding the boosting, it's not a problem. But what did they like? I got this new kid, Mighty Joe Young. He looks like he's on steroids. I don't know, it works. They love him, right? He's literally what, you're not going to do a video of me today? The kid's already got a big head. He's only been here for 3 weeks. But they love this. The house Devin did yesterday or the day before, I thought it was the homeowner, but she was the nanny. And she was out with the young one she was watching and says, he loves what you're doing. He wanted to come out. I don't know what it is about turf, but we boost it and we see what happens. Every morning I look and I'll see with the videos that Danny posts, and I could see, are they going bananas? And if they go bananas, I catch that wave and I boost it, right? If it was me like this, it's a still picture and you boost that, it's gonna go nowhere. You're gonna waste your money. But I'll be happy to go on a tangent about that. When I first started way back in the day, I was closing like 80% of the people that inquired about solar panel cleaning in pigeons. I was closing them. All I did was Facebook. Everybody wanted me to get into Google. But like what Edgar's saying, at this time of year, the barbecues are going away. The pumpkins are rolling out. They already got frickin' Christmas trees in Costco. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yep.
you've got to think about that on your services. So, for me, with a Terp, Instagram and boosting works the best. On Solar Clean, a lot of tire kickers. And I put specific areas where I want them to be seen. So I'm not just laying a big net on Southern California or LA County, San Bernardino. I pick the cities and I put them in there based off of what I know there's volume of people that will spend money that have the issue. They don't do for shit where I'm at, where I'm posting, right? So we get a lot of tire kickers, a lot of engagement, but a lot of ghosts. We'll give them a price, we'll give them a ballpark, we'll try to get the address to set up. So the funny thing is, I get messages, like I run a lot of Google ads, and I'll talk real quick about that. I run Google ads. It's about $1,000 a week for the two companies. And sometimes it's every 7 days. Sometimes as we get into these times, it's every 10 days, every 15 days. But Google's going to get theirs because people stop searching. Same setup, solar will call. The people that are really interested call. All of those numbers show up as spam to my wife's phone number. Really weird. All of the people that got my search results on Google Ads on Turf, they sent an email. So they fill out the form. Different mentality. Two issues, pigeons and piss, but how they react, it's different. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can definitely, I can relate to that too, because and the reason why I quickly asked you, like, about how you see those videos about people saying not to boost on Instagram, but it's so funny because honestly, like I said, in these videos, we're talking to the masses, right? We're talking to everybody in so many different regions, so we can't specifically talk to your region, your niche, your service, but that's what the comments are for. Drop a comment, let us know. But I as well boosted a post, and I was able to sell, a good amount of Christmas lights off of it. So. It just, you gotta figure out what works, and for the for going back to your question, chosen property services, figure out what works, and it's not gonna work all year long. You're gonna be going in between different things on what works in spring, what works in fall, what works in summer, and then once you find that rhythm, then you'll get it, right? So it's constantly, and it's always just trial and error. That's really what it comes down to. As a business, you need to learn how to generate leads, and there's just so many ways to generate leads. So don't ever get stuck on a YouTube video that says the only way is this way, the only way is that way. Learn this to generate millions of leads, because no, like, you cannot have all your eggs in one basket. Learn to generate leads multiple ways, and that way all those leads can go and fill up your schedule. We're getting a couple more questions, but let me quickly. Right before we hang up, hello from Reliable Facility Services. Good stuff, brother. I appreciate you for watching, man. Thank you so much.
Right.
Sorry I got to get so close, but I am blind. Top tier solar cleaning. First time hopping on, but I love it, and we'll keep up with you boys. So appreciate all of you guys. If there's no other questions, and there isn't,
I stole that from Edgar. I hadn't put signs up in forever and a day, right? I go, dude, I love that sign. His was like this way. I like that, right? But I put it sideways so that way I could call it my own. But yeah, it's going back to it. What he's saying is, I know we got to wrap this shit up, right? But what works for me may not work for you, vice versa.
We're only 4 hours, 5 hours away from each other. I mean, we're not across the U.S.
Be very careful. All I can say is be careful. I like to say, hey, I used to say, hey, it's Todd the Birdman, high up on the roof, right? People started following me just because of that stupid saying. But I would say, I'm out here in Tehachapi, and I would scan around. Edgar does that, and we like to do that too. Devin did it the other day. I did that one. I said, oh, you better bleep out that street sign. People, look, I'm telling you, man, like we'll have another episode on what's worked, what hasn't worked. People, I told Edgar before, I had a season I could have swore, it might have been this year, people were following. And
Yeah.
literally, I go back to those areas, my signs are gone, new signs are up. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. There are scandalous people that will go out there and follow your tracks. So when I used to, real quick, I used to do a job, say, hey, I'm in Tehachapi off the Telegraph Road, whatever the case is, the new track out here, this pigeon infestation. I did the job. I would do my door hangers in that neighborhood. I'd put my yard signs on the entrances and exits. I'm out. I'd go boost that ad right there for $75. I would run it for 4 days. And it was only in that zip code, 1 mile outside of it. So that right there is a nugget in itself. That might work in your area, but
If you guys watched till the end, you guys just got an amazing nugget right there. If you didn't watch, my bad.
you didn't get that old Facebook marketing 101.
Yep. Well, quickly, I didn't shout out, but let me quickly shout out to C10 dude. That's Steve. That's actually my brother-in-law. So we're going to be bringing him on this podcast, on this series. I definitely want to hear his story and have him chime in as well. But I shout out to all of you guys that are watching. Thank you so much for tuning in, for watching, for your comments, for your love, your motivation. Happy Friday, everyone. We're going to call it that. Any last-minute comments, Todd, or are we good to go?
All I can say, the reason we called it like don't jump or how not to jump is like you got to have a homie. I've got Devin and my wife who slap my ass back to reality all the time. Find somebody that's true, that's going to give it to you straight up. Even though Edgar wasn't responding today to my messages on my new marketing campaign that I'm really excited about, he gives it to me straight. I give it to him straight. He's the cheerleader. I'm the punch you in the face. So if you need to get punched in the face, that's coming from me. Edgar will pump you up.
That's right. That's right. Go team. So everyone have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. No drinking and driving as always. For those of you who are going to start doing those holiday festivities, I know in my area we got a couple haunted houses that we're probably going to try and head up this weekend. So be safe. Much love. Catch you guys. Peace.
See you in the Section 8 housing track.